In corner, Jake was a masterclass in boxing IQ. Jake managed to stay on the move, but you could see him breathing a little heavier as the round came to a close. Tyson's punches were starting to take their toll, and even though Jake was still fighting smart, the tide seemed to be slowly shifting in Mike's favor. As round 3 began, Jake Paul seemed to understand the situation. He couldn't afford to let Tyson dictate the pace. He started throwing more combinations, trying to overwhelm Tyson with speed and volume, and for a while, it worked. Jake landed some solid shots, including a sharp right cross that definitely got Tyson's attention. But Mike is no stranger to pressure. The heavyweight legend started walking Jake down, absorbing some of the lighter punches and countering with thunderous hooks to the body. Midway through the round, Tyson caught Jake with a brutal left hook to the ribs that clearly rattled him. You could see Jake wince for a split second before trying to shake it off. Tyson's timing was impeccable. Every time Jake tried to reset and fire off combinations, Mike would slip inside and deliver a crushing body shot or an overhand right that had the crowd roaring. Jake was doing his best to stay in the fight, but it was clear that Tyson's relentless pace and punishing power were starting to wear him down. By the end of round 3, Jake was still standing, but Tyson had definitely taken control. Round 4 kicked off, and Jake Paul was starting to show signs of fatigue. His footwork slowed just a bit, and Tyson, ever the predator, took full advantage. Tyson began to stalk Jake even more aggressively, cutting off the ring and forcing him into uncomfortable positions. Jake, to his credit, didn't back down. He kept throwing punches, but they lacked the same pop as before. Tyson, meanwhile, was waiting for his moment, bobbing and weaving like a man half his age, slipping past Jake's jabs and getting in close to land his signature power shots. Around the 2-minute mark, Tyson rocked Jake with a powerful uppercut that sent shockwaves through the arena. Jake stumbled but stayed on his feet, showing resilience. The crowd was on their feet, sensing that a knockout could be coming soon. By the end of the round, Jake was in survival mode, clinching Tyson more frequently to avoid getting hit with another monster punch. You could see it on Jake's face. He was realizing just how dangerous Mike Tyson still is, even at this stage in his career. Round 5 began, and Jake Paul looked like he was on borrowed time. His energy levels had clearly dipped, and Tyson was still coming forward with that menacing intensity. The younger Paul brother tried to keep Tyson at bay with jabs and occasional flurries, but Tyson wasn't having it. He knew the end was near. Midway through the round, Tyson launched a vicious assault. He pinned Jake against the ropes and unleashed a combination that had the entire arena gasping. Jake covered up and absorbed most of the punches, but he couldn't avoid everything. A brutal hook to the body sent Jake reeling, and Tyson followed it up with a lightning-fast right hand to the temple. Somehow Jake stayed standing, but it was clear he was running out of steam. Tyson continued pressing, landing short hooks and uppercuts on the inside. Jake was hanging on, but barely. His strategy had shifted from trying to win to just surviving. As the round came to a close, Jake was looking worse for wear, but he managed to make it to the bell. The crowd knew it was only a matter of time before Tyson's power would prove too much. Then came round 6, and this is where the fight ended. Tyson came out with a laser focus, knowing he had Jake on the ropes. Jake, looking exhausted, tried to muster whatever strength he had left to fend off the heavyweight legend. He threw a few wild punches, but Tyson easily dodged them, keeping his eyes locked on his target. About a minute into the round, Tyson saw his opening. Jake let his guard drop for just a split second, and that's all it took. Tyson unleashed a devastating right hook that crashed into Jake's jaw, sending him down to the canvas. The arena exploded. Jake tried to get up, but his legs just wouldn't cooperate. The ref started the count, and although Jake made it to his knees, he couldn't beat the 10 count. Mike Tyson had knocked Jake Paul out cold. The fight was over, and Tyson had proven once again that his power is timeless. Even at 58, he still had the ability to take down a fighter in his prime. Jake Paul had put up a good fight, but in the end, there was just no stopping Iron Mike. As the medical staff rushed in to check on Jake, Tyson stood in the center of the ring, his arm raised in victory. The fans were on their feet, chanting his name, as the legend of Mike Tyson grew even larger. Now let's talk about the aftermath, because this fight set the internet on fire. The reactions to Mike Tyson's epic knockout of Jake Paul were absolutely wild. Fans, celebrities, and even other fighters could not stop talking about it. I mean, Twitter and Instagram were flooded with memes, hashtags, and hot takes right after the fight. The hashtag Dr. Jake Paul KO started trending worldwide, along with Dash Iron Mike Forever, because Tyson once again proved why he's the GOAT. Let's talk fan reactions now. Boxing fans were all like, Father Time doesn't exist for Mike, and Jake Paul officially entered the Shadow Realm. And trust me, the memes were on another level. People were comparing Jake's fall to everything from cartoon knockouts to actual video game deaths. And of course, Jake Paul's haters had a field day. They've been waiting for this moment, and boy, did they take it and run. Celebrities also jumped in with their reactions, and they were just as savage. Drake, who has been pretty vocal about Jake Paul's rise, tweeted something like, "Never bet against a legend." Then you had people like Snoop Dogg posting a clip of Tyson's knockout with the caption, "Lights out, young blood." Even Shaquille O'Neal chimed in saying, "Mike Tyson still got that dog in him." Well, there you have it, Fight World. That's all I have for you today. What was your reaction to the knockout? Did you see it coming? Or were you just as shocked as everyone else? Drop a comment and let us know. Make sure you subscribe to Boxing World, and I'll see you next time.
And they've stopped it! Round one, knockout, Jake Paul, El Gallo de Dorado!
Another first-round stoppage for the problem child. He told us round two, but he delivered it 1 round earlier. Outstanding performance from Jake Paul.
Man, Jake set that up with some good offense, jabbing up top, jabbing to the body. That was a perfect setup, man. He had good...
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix. Yep, that's a sentence I never thought I'd say in 2024. But here we are, living in a timeline where a YouTuber can face off against a boxing legend, and it somehow makes perfect sense.
Main event of the evening, an 8-round test in the cruiserweight division. Let's get ready to rumble!
Sure, the match was officially set for November 15th, but in classic Netflix fashion, they decided to drop the recorded showdown early, because who needs a normal release schedule when you have Jake Paul in the mix?
And on the planet, KO punchers of all times, the 2-time heavyweight world champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson!
Don't tell me you were living under a rock from day one and missed it. The fight already happened. And this isn't just some overhyped countdown to a future event that's being milked for all it's worth. Nope. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson has already gone down at the iconic AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas.
Highly anticipated fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson has a new date. They'll face off in AT&T Stadium on November 15th.
And of course, Netflix will be rolling out this event in a couple of weeks. But right now, you get the privilege of knowing every bit of wild action that made this fight legendary before the rest of the world does.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
And let's be real, the buzz for this clash was ridiculous. It felt like every single person on the planet had an opinion, and nobody could shut up about it. You had Jake Paul, the social media sensation turned wannabe boxing king, hyping himself up louder than ever. The guy practically strutted into the press conferences, running his mouth and making everyone question if he'd finally taken one too many hits to the ego. And then there was Mike Tyson, the myth, the legend, the human wrecking ball who even at 58 still manages to strike fear into people just by smiling. Tyson showed up like he was about to turn the ring into his personal playground, ready to remind everyone that a legend never really fades. The guy has a presence that can make even the cockiest of challengers sweat. So you had these two polar opposites. Jake, the flashy loudmouth disruptor, and Tyson, the silent storm, both standing under the blinding lights of one of the biggest stadiums in the world.
To play and handle the Mike Tyson thing correctly, because the visuals were bad. And when you're dealing in a world of optics, it's very relevant. And Tyson versus Paul would likely be on July 20th. It would likely be on had they not put out the fake press release in the first place. When they put out this watered down, dumb press release.
And believe me, the words alone carry weight. But seeing Mike Tyson live in the flesh at 58, that's a whole other universe. Seriously, Tyson walks into the arena, and it's like someone hit a switch and the air just gets heavier. His muscles are still chiseled and freakishly defined, like he's some sort of Greek god who refused to acknowledge things like aging or gravity. Yeah, the guy's 58 on paper, but one glance at him and you'd be convinced he's been marinating in some kind of time-defying elixir. Put this in.
And he definitely has some power.
Trust me, he didn't just roll out of bed and hope for the best. No, Tyson was grinding it out in the gym like his life depended on it, bringing all that old-school brutality mixed with some high-tech training wizardry. We're talking crazy, state-of-the-art workouts, sparring that would leave even hardened fighters wincing, and drills that had seasoned coaches raising their eyebrows.
"10 days, baby. 10 days.
Now, think about the contrast. Jake Paul's been out there living his best influencer life, vlogging, pranking, and stirring up drama like the internet's favorite chaos magnet. Meanwhile, Tyson's been locked in beast mode, laser-focused and transforming himself with an intensity you'd expect from a dude half his age. This wasn't just about getting ripped. Tyson's power was still there, that bone-crunching force that put so many opponents to sleep.
And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing 83.6 pounds.
In fact, experts were whispering that this older, more refined Tyson was somehow even scarier, that his punches were now surgical strikes, still packed with enough devastation to end a fight before you could even blink. Jake and his camp? Clearly, they hadn't prepared for just how terrifying that could be. And then there was Tyson's headspace. It was a total reinvention, a mental overhaul. He was calm, focused, and downright relentless. It was like he had one singular purpose etched into his very soul: destruction. Every single move, every subtle gesture, every second leading up to the bell told you this man was here for blood.
Undefeated, the problem child.
No time for the flashy antics or social media drama. Jake was busy being the showman, but Tyson? He was the warrior, and his demeanor said it all. As he stood there, a still, deadly presence in his corner, the entire stadium felt the chill. It was the same aura that used to make grown men crumble before he even threw a punch. But let's not act like Jake Paul wasn't ready to put on a show. Round one comes alive, and Jake comes flying out like a tornado, arms swinging and confidence sky high. He's fast, really fast, and you can tell he's been working on this. He's bouncing around, loose and cocky, using every advantage his youth and height give him. His footwork was quick, and those jabs were snapping out with purpose, trying to keep Tyson at a distance, as if he was thinking, "Yeah, I've got this." He wasn't just throwing random punches. He was strategic, determined to prove he wasn't just some loudmouth content creator pretending to be a boxer. And for a hot second, it looked like he might just pull it off. The crowd ate it up, roaring every time he landed a punch, convinced they were about to witness Jake pull off the impossible. Tyson? He looked almost too calm, like a lion observing a cocky young cub, one who hasn't yet learned what the jungle is really about. Jake's hits connected, the noise was deafening, and you'd almost believe he had this fight in the bag. Almost. He was landing shots, using his reach, moving like he'd mastered the art of being the aggressor. But Tyson's eyes were telling a completely different story.
And they've stopped it! Round one, knockout, Jake Paul, El Gallo de Dorado!
Another first-round stoppage for the problem child. He told us round two, but he delivered it 1 round earlier. Outstanding performance from Jake Paul.
Man, Jake set that up with some good offense, jabbing up top, jabbing to the body. That was a perfect setup, man. He had good...
Those eyes, if you've ever watched Tyson in his prime, you know that look. He was studying Jake, reading him like an open book, calculating, waiting for that one perfect opening. This wasn't about how many punches Jake could land. Tyson knew it was about the right punch, the one that could change everything. He was patient, letting Jake burn through that early energy, and it was only a matter of time. The old master, with decades